Hello, welcome back to the reading of the poem of the Man God, written by Maria Valtorta, Volume 4, Chapter 466, Part 1. Judas Iscariot fills Jesus with joy. 23rd September 1944. Jesus says, "In the meantime, I tell you that, if you are going to do a regular work, the episode of Wednesday, 20th September is to be placed a year before my death, 404, because it happened at harvest time, in my 32nd year of age. The necessity to comfort and instruct you, my beloved, and others has compelled me to follow a special order when giving visions and relevant dictations. But in due course, I will show you how to distribute the episodes of the 3 years of my public life. The order of the Gospels is good, but not perfect as a chronological order. A diligent observer notices that he who could have given the exact order of events, having been with me from the beginning of the evangelization to my ascension, did not do so, because John, a true son of the light, devoted himself to and worried about making the light shine brightly through its appearance of a body in the eyes of the heretics, who contested the truth of the divinity enclosed in a human body. John's sublime gospel achieved its supernatural purpose, but the chronology of my public life has not been improved by it. The other 3 evangelists show resemblances to one another with regard to events, but they alter their order with regard to time, because only one of the 3 was present at almost all my public life, Matthew, and he wrote it only 15 years later, whilst the others wrote theirs even later, after hearing the story from my mother, from Peter, from other apostles and disciples. I want to give you a guide to collect together the events of the 3 years, year by year, and now see and write. The episode follows that of Wednesday, 20th September. I see Jesus walking slowly up and down a little country path in bright moonlight. The moon is full and shines with her smiling face in a very clear sky. But her position in the sky, by her position in the sky, she is beginning to set. I infer that it must be past midnight. Jesus is certainly thinking and praying, although I do not hear any word. But he does not lose sight of what is around him. He stops once and smiles, listening to the loud song of a nightingale in love. The bird sings a melody with arpeggios and trills, and a solo, notes which are held so well, so loud, and for so long that it seems impossible that they come forth from that little bunch of feathers, in order not to disturb it with the shuffling of his sandals on the little stones of the path, and with the rustling of his tunic on the grass. Jesus stops with folded arms and smiles, raising his face. He even half closes his eyes to concentrate better on hearing it. And when the nightingale comes to the end with a high note, which rises and rises by thirds, I'm not sure whether I remember correctly, and finishes with a very high note, held as long as its breath allows, he expresses his approval and applauds silently, nodding 2 or 3 times with a happy smile. Now instead, he bends over a tuft of honeysuckle in bloom, which exhales a strong scent from its numerous calyces, like yawning serpents' mouths, in which the tongues of yellowish pistils tremble, and a golden mark shines on the lower petal. The flowers look whiter, almost silvery, in the moonlight. Jesus admires and smells them, and caresses them with his hand. He retraces his steps. The place must be slightly high, because in the moonlight one can see to the south something that shines like a wet piece of glass illuminated by the moon. Certainly a tiny part of a lake, because it is neither a river nor the sea, as it is surrounded by hills on the side opposite to the one where Jesus is standing. Jesus looks at the placid, calm waters sparkling in the peaceful summer night. He then turns round from south to west and looks at a village, standing out in its whiteness, about 2 kilometers away, probably less. It is quite a large village. He stops looking at it and shakes his head, following a thought which distresses him deeply. He then resumes walking slowly and praying. Finally, he sits on a large stone at the foot of a very tall tree, and he assumes his usual posture, with his elbows resting on his knees, his forearms stretched out and his hands joined in prayer. He remains thus for some time, and would remain longer if a man, like a shadow, did not come towards him from the thicket, calling him, "Master!" Jesus turns round. "Master?" Jesus turns round because the person is coming from behind him, and he says, "Judas, what do you want?" "Where are you, Master?" "At the foot of the walnut tree. Come here." And Jesus stands up and goes onto the path in the moonlight, so that Judas may see him. "Have you come, Judas, to keep your master company for a little while?" They are now close to each other, and Jesus lovingly lays an arm on his disciple's shoulder. "Or am I needed at Chorazin?" "No, Master, there is no need for you. I wanted to come to you." "Come then. There is room for both of us on this stone." They sit down close to each other and remain silent. Judas does not speak. He looks at Jesus. He is struggling. Jesus wants to help him. He looks at him kindly, but keenly. "What a beautiful night, Judas. Look how everything is pure. I do not think that the first night which smiled at the earth and at Adam's sleep in the earthly paradise was pure. Smell how scented are these flowers. Smell them, but do not pick them. They are so beautiful and pure. I also have refrained from picking them because to pluck them is to profane them. It is always wrong to do violence, to plants as to animals as to men. Why deprive them of their lives? Life is so beautiful when it is spent well, and those flowers spend their lives well because they are sweet-smelling. They cheer up people with their beautiful appearance and scents. They give honey to bees and butterflies, and they transfer to the latter the gold of their pistils to place tiny drops of topaz on their pearly wings, and are used to make beds and nests. If you had been here a little while ago, you would have heard a nightingale sing so sweetly its joy of living and praising the Lord. Dear little birds, what an example they are for men. They are satisfied with little, and only with what is legal and holy. A tiny grain and a little worm is given to them by the Father Creator. And if there is none, they do not become angry or irritated, but they deceive the hunger of their bodies with the ardor of their hearts, which makes them sing the praises of the Lord and the joy of hope. They are happy to be tired after flying from dawn to sunset, to build a nest for themselves, a tepid, soft, safe nest, not out of selfishness, but out of love for their offspring. And they sing, urged by the joy of loving each other honestly, the nightingale for its mate, and both for their little ones. Animals are always happy because they have no remorse or reproach in their hearts. We make them unhappy because man is bad, disrespectful, overbearing, cruel, and he is not happy to be so with his like. His wickedness overflows on inferiors, and the more he feels remorse, the more his conscience spurs him, and the more pitiless he is towards other people. I am sure, for instance, that the horseman who today was spurring his horse so cruelly, although it was wet with perspiration and tired, and he lashed it to the point of leaving swollen marks on the hair of its neck and sides, and even on its nostrils so tender, and on its dark eyelashes, which closed painfully on its eyes, so resigned and mild. I am sure that his soul was not in peace. He was either going to commit a crime against honesty, or he was coming from one. Jesus becomes silent and pensive. This has been a reading from the poem of the Man-God, written by God-Vol4-Ch466, Volume 4, Chapter 466, Part 1. Judas Iscariot fills Jesus with joy. Thank you for listening. I will see you tomorrow. May God bless you, and may peace be with you.